without further ado, welcome back to the pod. Today we have Matt Griner, a genuine person, true friend of mine. Actually started out, I hired him to coach me with my relationship. I love how it's evolved into this beautiful friendship and business relationship. Now have you as a sales manager for Happi Roofing.
Yep.
Super stoked. And I'm grateful for you and your ability to come in and connect with the team. Bro, where do you think that originated from? Like, where did you learn to connect with people like that?
We're just diving right into it.
Straight in.
I know, I like that. Connection with people. Where did I learn that? Oh, that's a good question.
Where'd that come from, dude?
Solely out of a disconnection from myself. And I think I learned how to connect with myself through my own trials and my own errors and the things that I went through in my personal life. I believe that everybody's mess is their actual message. And so I went through a whole bunch of things to be able to realize that I was disconnected from myself, and went through a journey that was literally 2.5 years long, where I actually had to learn how to reconnect to myself. And in doing so, I learned the ins and outs of the human mind. I would say, like, not the human mind, but the way that people actually are, the way that people communicate, the way that people emote, and the way that they want to be seen. And it was only through, like I said, not knowing who I was and having to figure it out. And once I figured that out, then it was weird. It was almost like a switch flipped in my brain that I was able to see somebody else through even a couple words or a couple sentences.
Wow.
So
what were some of the ways that you would like connect with yourself, or that you got to know yourself better? Or, yeah, you said connect with yourself, right?
Yeah.
What were some of the ways that you would do that?
This is interesting. I think, on a very like if we're just talking about the bullet points, meditation is one. Self-awareness through somebody else's mirror is the second. And then emotional intelligence is the third. But I had to learn what emotions were. So I think I ended up hiring a coach, just like you hired me, that actually did teach me what is called, I call it the emotion scale. It's called the map of consciousness. And I kind of based my whole life around it because it's how I figured myself out. So, but
Map of consciousness?
yeah, right. You never heard of it?
No.
Oh, damn. Okay.
We gotta check this out really quick. I want to see what this looks like. We'll have to put it on the screen or something. Can you pull it up for us real quick?
Yeah, bro, I got you.
Dude, that's what we need for the pod. We need someone with like a screen that can just like
The third person that
stuff.
brings it up. Yeah, bro.
Maybe I'll get set up with yeah, that's what I'll do. We'll get the podcast set up now where it's like I'll host from this table.
Yeah.
And then I'll have my laptop. But in the meantime.
So a map of consciousness goes from shame all the way to enlightenment.
Oh.
And it's what
Yeah.
what we teach in my coaching approach. But David Hawkins kind of took it, and a couple of people have put their spin on it. I put my spin on it to make it an energetic frequency matched with an emotion that we experience. So that's kind of what it looks like, though.
So this basically helps with self-awareness because now you can pinpoint where you're at and
You can
better understand.
The way that I used it was I always asked myself, how do I actually feel in this moment right now? And I had to pick one word. And if I could pick one word, then I know up and down on the scale exactly how it works. Like if I'm scared, if I'm in fear, then I know that I am not getting what I'm wanting and I'm sad about something because the emotions on the top and the bottom of them are grief and desire. Right? And so from there, I can self-assess and I can say, okay, cool. Well, if I'm scared of this thing and I'm not getting what I'm wanting, then I have to push past the fear to be able to get what I want, right? And if I don't do that, it's going to make me really, really fucking sad for my life because I'm not progressing in a certain way. The thing that I learned the most about this, I could rant all day about this thing, dude, but the thing that I learned the most about this is anger. And I think that anger is the biggest tool for us. And for me, that was how I connected back to, how I learned how to connect back to myself, is because I got to a point where I was so grumpy and so angry and so resentful towards the world that I actually had to start looking at it, because I would get to this anger spot. Somebody would trigger me, something would happen for me. And I would get to anger and I'd be like, okay, cool. What's going on for me? And then I would just not look at it, because you're not supposed to be angry in society. People don't like it when you yell. People don't like it when you emote, right?
Right.
And so I would just shove it all down and I would just try and be okay. But then I would go back into this scared human being that didn't really progress, didn't really do anything, because anger was the thing that I actually had to address and look at to be able to propel. Because on the map of consciousness, I'm trying to slow this down, but on the map of consciousness, if you can push past anger, every single emotion above it is positive. But a lot of the time society just stays in this state. Like we see obesity, we see like, yeah, anyway, I could talk about it a ton. We see obesity, we see like knee problems, joint pain, all that stuff. I think it's an emotional regard. Or it's an emotional suppression, because somebody that does not address what they're sad about, mad about, or scared of, it's going to manifest in their body. So yeah, that was a long route to say that I've connected through myself, through my emotions.
And when was that? How long ago was this?
Started 2 years ago, but I think that it came to fruition probably this year.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, bro.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, man.
And so now you're kind of transitioning that into the more applying that in the business world. And that's, I feel like, kind of where we started.
And that's where we meet, dude. I believe that people don't really understand themselves very much, because they're just taught something, and so they live that way. Rather than, do I want this, is the first question. Do I feel good doing this, right, is the second question. But I believe that we're just taught, we're just programmed, and we just live the life that we're supposed to live, right, and that we should live. But I think that with that, it comes a lot of resentment towards, in my opinion, in my life, it came with a lot of resentment towards myself, and it came with a lot of like disbelief in myself, because I was living somebody else's life, right? And so I think that the biggest thing in what I've learned is to help other people connect to themselves, to understand who they are, and then to go live the best life that they can. And if they can do that, then they can connect with other people. So. But
I love it, dude.
But yeah, this year.
This year, bro, it's pretty cool. I'm excited.
Oh, and then you said business too, right?
Yeah.
So taking this, dude, if every single business person learned emotional intelligence, bro, the world would change.
Yeah.
It really would. And you would have zero turnover, because you would know how to handle people, and you would sell more. And what are the other things? You could lead way better. Like, that's why you're such a good leader, is because you actually understand yourself.
Trying to, bro. I'm still trying to figure out so many things. That's why I'm trying to surround myself with good people like you, you know?
Yeah. Thank you, man.
But yeah, it's not easy putting all of it together, for sure. We were just talking about it today, like how it's always so much harder than originally predicted. Everything is. It's like hardly ever like, oh, that was so much easier than I thought. Leadership is no different, like business in general. But
if you think like a life standpoint, like we were talking about this today too, and it's like life's not meant to be easy, right? And I think the journey of it is supposed to be hard. But it's just how you define hard.
Yeah, 100%.
So
it's so funny you say that, because I relate to that big time. You know, I've had so many different phases of my life, and I've like done so many different, tried so many different lifestyles, like.
You really have, dude. I was just learning about that today from you.
Yeah, like living out of a van, like traveling full time, like, just really lived in a lot of places, lived in a lot of different housing dynamics and stuff, and just like had different workloads as well. Like there'll be some times where I accumulate resources, doing summer sales, and then I'm just like in Asia for 3 months, not working, and just living cheap. And like when I would do stuff like that, like take really long extended trips, it was just like, it became a different hard. It became like a mental hard, like a psychological hard of like, I know I'm cutting myself short type thing by not putting in the work. And it's like, it's like better to be out producing and like struggling, but putting in effort and knowing at the end of the day, it's like, wow, I actually put in a lot of good effort today, instead of just like, yeah, I'm cruising off some effort that I put in a while ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like never as fulfilling. And even like last year, not to make this about me, because I want to talk about you and get to know you more, but last year, well, I guess it's 2026 now. So 2024.
Yeah.
2024 was the first time where I like had the business built up. Like Maddie trained people in the office, people on the sales side, like installers, like everything was pretty up and moving. Right. But again, this is where I was thinking small.
Yeah.
Right. It was always like, oh, if we could just get to this point, I'll be good, you know? And there were always like incremental small goals. And I mean, I think partially that's worked to my advantage, because honestly, when you get there, you just keep trying to achieve something bigger. But it did get to the point where it was like, I was kind of satisfied, and I was like, it wasn't like living anything crazy lifestyle, you know what I mean? But
Right.
I could just kind of come and go and do whatever, and like people would take care of stuff, and it was nice, you know. And then like I just leaned in on that so heavily, because like I thought that's what I wanted. Like I thought that's what I was working for, you know. And then like I ended up being like one of the hardest years mentally. It was just like not fulfilling, not what I thought it would be, right?
Yeah.
And then 2025, step back in and like have found such a better balance of like still enjoying life, still going out and like fueling the creative side and like having fun, but also being involved and showing up and like really putting in the work, you know, with the business, and like having more of a fulfilling lifestyle that way. So it is kind of funny, because it's like, yeah, you know, it wasn't necessarily hard for me to not work as hard in 2024, but it was hard because it was like mentally it was hard, emotionally it was hard, you know. Whereas 2025, it was harder work.
Yeah.
It was way better. It was easier in other areas. So it really is like gonna be hard either way, whether you,
Dude.
you know, go one way or the other. So
That's awesome.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. We talked about this today too, but I'd always used to like envision, okay, cool, I'm going to get a big payout and then I'm not going to have to work. Right. And then we're going to end up just being able to hang out with my friends. No, not even my friends, hang out with my kids and go on beach vacations. Right. I did that for 3 years, where I just hung out with my kids and we made enough money where we could go on beach vacations. And it's the unhappiest that I've ever been. You know what I mean? Wow. So, and it's really actually kind of cool, because even with Happi Roofing, and like people call it a grind, but it's actually not a grind. There's actually so much fulfillment in the journey of door knocking. And dude, I mean, you've heard this a ton of times, but I think that sales is like the biggest asset to self-progression.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
It'll teach you more about yourself than anything else, how to handle rejection, how to talk to people, how to communicate, how to read people. But yeah, it's been really cool to see this side of business and to work underneath you, having a different perspective of the world, and now learning this. And I'm like an ADHD brain person, right? And so like I'm always in my head, I'm always constantly thinking about what else I can do. I'm always like, and it's my superpower, right? But it's also my like biggest, like most detrimental thing in my life.
Yeah.
But sales has literally like calmed my brain down, where it's just like I only have to focus on one thing, and I can go and talk to people, and I can go relate with people. And if I can do that, then they'll buy what I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I pair the emotional intelligence side with it, because there's two things that I know about like life and about sales, and then it's a transference of energy. And then it's all based off an emotional state that somebody's in. So if somebody's going to buy something, it's because they feel a certain way or they don't feel a certain way. Right. And then the transference of energy is just, if you are in a good mood, they will be too. If you're in a shitty mood, they're going to be in a shitty mood.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
yeah, you can definitely transfer their energy.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, I think that life is an experience to be had. And that's another topic that we could talk about too. But, if we can say like this, sales and Happi Roofing has taught me like genuinely so much about myself, along with the other journey that I've been through. So I appreciate you, bro, for building what you've built. It's dope.
Appreciate you, bro. We're just getting started, really. Like it's crazy. You know, roofing's not going anywhere. We say it all the time. So we're just gonna keep.
Well, that's why I picked this industry too, bro.
Keep
honestly, I've had options, and I like roofing. It's kind of like haircuts. Like people are always gonna need a haircut. You know what I mean? People always need a brand new roof. But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I love how we can pivot and still do other things too. Like we still do real estate, we still do solar, we still have that like other high ticket sales that we can do through with our customers.
Right.
But you mentioned your kids. So you have 4 kids.
Yep.
How old were you when you had your first kid? And what has I want to know what age it started, and then I want to know what you have learned from this fatherhood journey. I want to learn a little bit because I might be a dad one day, so I gotta learn from you.
Okay. If I cry, I cry. I was 23 when I had my first kid, and he's 10 now. I'm 33, and I've got 4 kids. We stopped having kids when we were 31, so I've got a 2-year-old. What I've learned about kids and about being a dad, or learned from them, is that I'm not here to teach them a damn thing. I'm not.
You don't think so?
No, bro.
Nothing. Just learn everything from mom, or what?
The second you try and control a kid is the second it's just like people. If you try and control the outcome of another person, you lose.
Yeah.
Bro, go do the dishes. No, dad. Fuck. All right. Like it's literally negotiation all day long, right?
Yeah.
But on a good note, from my kids, what I've learned is more about myself. They're our greatest mirror, dude. Like, I've got and every single person, and the reason why I say that I'm not here to teach them a damn thing is because they come with a different personality, every single one of them. And so that means I come with a different personality. And my belief is that everybody comes here perfectly as they are. Doesn't need to change a thing, right? And so I go from saying, and it goes back to what I said at the very beginning, most people live a programmed life that was programmed by who? Usually their parents.
Yeah, their parents.
Sometimes, sometimes grandparents, sometimes work associates, right? But usually their parents, because cognitively from 1 to 7, you are a free-willed person, like from the age of 1 to 7. And then from 7 to 28, you're susceptible to change from somebody else's opinion. But 7 to 28 is a really big gap, right? But in between 1 and 7, that's why I say I'm not here to teach them anything. I'm here to learn from them. Because they're going to show me the parts of myself that I need to heal from. And all I can do is guide them in their trajectory. And if my experiences help them be safe, great. But if I try and control them, or if I try and persuade them to live life like I did, or that I do, then they'll lose in the long run. And so what I just do with my kids is that I live life with them, right? I don't try and control them to do one thing. There are responsibilities and things, and it's like, hey, go clean your room. That has to happen, right? All that type of stuff. But I'm a student in my house.
And learn from them.
Yep. That's the biggest thing that I've learned as a dad, is that like you cannot control your kids. And the second that you try, they're going to start to resent you. And that's when you lose people.
So when you say mirror, you've mentioned that a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean by that? For people that don't know, like, what a mirror is.
The easiest way to look at it is if you get triggered, somebody's mirroring you. Like if you said something and it pissed me off, there's a reason why it pissed me off. And I get to address the reason for me, because it necessarily wasn't the circumstance that you brought up for me, right? It was something that happened in the past that I reacted to. And so what mirroring is you're saying something to me and it brings out something that I need to look at for myself. And that is self-awareness in a nutshell, because we're not going to live our lives just in a cold room by ourselves. We have to communicate and we have to connect with people. So as we connect with people, it's, okay, cool. You are a different person. You're on a different trajectory. You have a different lifestyle than I do. I can learn from you. But the second that I get to anger, like I said, the emotional state that we were in, or if I get to fear, I know I have something to learn, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what a mirror is like, and I'm like, for people that are married, your spouse is your greatest freaking mirror, because they're the ones that know you inside and out usually, right? So the things that you can't tolerate about them, the things that are causing the most fights, the things that like you can't seem to get over, those are the things that need to be addressed for yourself. So that's mirroring.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's just like, if somebody pisses me off, mm-hmm. or if somebody like scares me or if somebody makes me sad, I can no longer, it's actually kind of frustrating, truthfully. I can no longer blame anybody else. I have to look at myself.
You're like, oh, why is this making me
Yeah,
mad?
dude. It's like, oh shit. And usually it comes down to like, all right, cool. Thank you for giving me that
Enlightenment. That like perspective on
give
myself.
me that perspective about myself, because I get to learn now and I get to move forward from it. And it's been difficult. Like I've gone through some really, in my relationship, I've gone through some really, really difficult things that we've had to look at. And every single time at the end of the day, it's always a thank you. So
that's a really good perspective to have. Someone makes you mad, say thank you, because they're teaching you about where you need to improve or what you could improve.
Yeah, dude. Guilt is a really big one too, that people can mirror for you. Guilt and shame. There's this big word. I know you didn't ask about this, but you could hear about it. There's this big word that's called judgment that I just steer clear from. And it's because like I judged myself for so long in my life. And I lived in like this guilt and shame cycle of the things that I should have done or would have been doing or could have been doing. And those are big 3 keywords for me: should, could, or would. Anytime that those come up in conversations, I kind of steer clear from it because they're just based in judgment, right?
Like they should have done this, or I should have done this.
Like I should have done this,
Judging
or
yourself.
I could have done this, or I would have done this had this happened, right? It's all just saying that you're not good enough or they're not good enough, right? And that I just don't believe. Yeah. So to self-assess and to mirror is like, okay, cool. If I feel judged by somebody else, that is something that I have to look at for me, because like, I don't even believe that God's job is to judge us. I think that is very much like a man-made thing.
You think we all just do it to ourselves?
Well, yeah, like it's like, how do you look at this? Do you believe that there's right or wrong?
Yeah.
I don't.
What? Bro, you have to believe in right or wrong. There's for sure right or wrong.
Why?
Because there has to be an objective right or wrong, because that's what society has been based on. And if we move into the space that it could be right or it could be wrong, it becomes so muddy and confusing to where the very fabric of society, I feel like, starts to come apart. Like I feel like, and I'm not some expert, I'm just telling you what I think.
That's what I love, dude. Yeah.
I believe that Western society was built on Christian values.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's, as far as what we have record of, Western society is, created the most prosperity for people. And it's based on like a set of uniform rules of like what's right and what's wrong and what do we all agree on. And there are certain things that we can. Do you believe in good and evil? You don't believe in good or evil?
Well, it's the same concept. So let's just stay on right or wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen a lot of really good, beautiful things happen, and therefore, and I've also seen a lot of evil, bad things happen.
Yeah.
And so I definitely believe in good and evil because I've seen them. And so by that, I can kind of zoom out and be like, okay, killing people for no reason or because you just want their stuff, that's evil, that's bad, that's wrong. And we need to like make sure people understand that.
Yeah.
Versus like living in a society where it's like, well, it's kind of like up to you. And I'm not sure where you're going with it, but I think where you're going is like it depends on like, how the person was raised or their own perspective.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's something to be said for that. But I also think as a whole, like there is a right or wrong. There is like a way that works and a way that doesn't work. There is a boat that floats and a boat that sinks, And so it's like, there's a right way to do things that bring about a sense of order and progression and accomplishment and uniformity. And then there's a way that's like, okay, that isn't going to end in a good result, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like certain steps we can do that will end well, certain steps we can do that will end poorly. And so in that, I would say is another example of right and wrong. Like there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. So then I would think you can keep layering that and saying there's a right way to live life. You shouldn't break certain rules. I'm not saying every rule that we have is like right or wrong. I'm not saying just like laws, blanket statement.
Yeah.
But I do think, I think for the most part, people tend to like realistically know, and the more that they try and seek what's right, the more they'll find it. But what's your opinion?
I think that was really good. Because I love that people don't just automatically agree with me.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to persuade anybody of this. The reason that I bring this up is because I believe that like society is as a whole judges themselves a lot, right? Because like you're constantly striving to better yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not?
Right.
Right.
I am.
Which means that like if you were just to stay stagnant, you wouldn't feel good about yourself in a sense.
Yeah, I mean,
like progression for you is yeah.
I would say progression for the vast majority of people, if not everybody, is like the key or a key to happiness. Progression.
Okay. But have you ever felt judged by somebody else?
For sure.
Okay. Have you ever judged yourself for what you're doing?
Yeah.
And then what did that do to you?
I would say there's a few different examples. There's a few different things that come to mind. The first couple of things that come to mind, for self-judgment, it would result in me doing something different, right?
Yeah.
So if I self-assess and judge myself, then I'd be like, why did I do that? Why didn't I do this? Let's do this moving forward. And then there's like a judgment and then a resolution. And then same thing if I'm feeling judgment from somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's someone that I care about, that I respect, maybe I look up to, whatever. I'll run it through the same assessment of like, are they valid to like, I'm feeling like I just knocked myself down a notch,
Right.
And are they valid to knock me down a notch? And if they are, then I have to take that and I'd have to say, okay, well then now I need to make an adjustment, versus if I say, does that deserve to take me down a notch? And I'm like, no, fuck no, that doesn't. That I'm like, all right, cool. I'm glad it took me down a notch. You know what I mean? Because they don't get it,
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. So there was like one of two choices. It's either you perform more because of the judgment, right? Or you kind of hermit.
Yeah. Right? Or I'd be like,
I'm not saying you in whole. I think that's generalized. Yeah. Somebody feels judged. Like if you take, I'm not going to go off that. Let me round out my thought. There's no good or bad. You kind of hit it on the head. Your experience is different than mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we're talking about God and religion and everything like that, God gave us the biggest gift that anybody's ever given us, and it's called our agency. And for me, agency is choice. And if I get to choose in my life, then why is my choice different? Because my choice is different than yours, why do you view it differently than I view it differently, right? And so this whole mirroring concept that we were talking about, to round it out, is just to say everything in our life is an experience. And for the whole of humanity, everything has to be experienced, or else we would just all be the same. And who wants to live in a world where everybody's the fucking same?
Yeah.
So that means, in my opinion, a murderer, or a rapist, or somebody that loses a lot of money or earns a lot of money is on the same playing field, because that's their experience to be lived, right? So to say that it's right or wrong is not up to me, because what outcome do we inevitably go to? We all die. So we're all working for the same thing.
We all die. Okay, keep going.
we all go to the same outcome, but however way we get there is up to the individual, right? And the only reason that I view it this way is because I genuinely have to for myself. because I judge myself so much, and it puts me and helps and makes me spiral so much that I have to look at every single experience that I've been through as just that, an experience, not as right or wrong. And so that means that, and if I don't want to judge myself, that means I sure as shit can't judge somebody else's situation, right? And that means that the creator that made me, God, whatever you guys believe in, right? Deity, higher power, whatever, however, happy science, whatever. That means that person also doesn't judge me either, because that I was sent here perfectly. And the only way that I got that, like this realization for myself, is through like the perfect little dudes that I made, right? So it's like I would never love somebody less if they did something shitty. Because if my kid was a murderer, like I would still love him. He would still have to pay a consequence because society has the judicial system, because what's kind of what you based your opinion on. But I would still love that kid. And when he gets out, I'm taking him back in. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's cool because...
And so right or wrong, just to finish it, right or wrong is just to say that I chose. And that is where progression lives, is choice. Because stagnancy kills people, right? And...
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and so if I can just choose, and my decisions are just the experiences from my life, and I view them as just that, where it's just I am okay doing what I want to be doing in the moment that I want to be doing it, then I can love myself enough to love another person and connect with them. Right?
Yeah. And you're still based enough in it to where you're like, you're not going to go around causing any sort of havoc, being like, there's no right or wrong. Like, this is just what I'm doing, you know? But what I was going to say, sorry.
Go dude, go for it. I keep cutting you off.
What I was going to say was, like, it's cool that we can have different operating systems, I guess, different lenses that we look through life with. And I do, I think no two people's lens is the same.
No.
Like everybody sees life a little different, and it's like everybody has like a mental fingerprint that is part of what keeps everything moving and keeps everything so unique and different. Is like you said, not everyone's living the same life, but it's like you have your lens that you look through.
Yeah.
That helps you live life the best that you can, right? And it's like I could sit here and be like, no, you need to believe that like there is right or wrong, but it's dude. what would me trying to convince you that there is right or wrong even do? Like, you're not going to cause any harm realistically with the lens that you have. So it's like,
yeah. And I think that the reason that I like have that opinion and that I like to share it is because somebody needs to hear that, bro. Like as somebody that like self-assesses all the time, and yourself as well, it's like, if you, and this is where the mirror concept comes back, and it's so relevant in judgment, because if somebody is judging you, it's like the saying that's like, if somebody points one finger, three fingers are pointing right back at them. If somebody's judging you, it's just a projection of their own judgment, but you get to look at if you judge yourself for what they said. Right. Anyway, so that was all just to round out the mirroring concept.
So let's say you do something, and I won't call it a mistake or wrong, because I know that's not your lens. I don't know what you would call it. A misstep, right? You were sent here perfectly. You don't make any mistakes while you're here.
Right.
Is that's
you correct? Don't make any mistakes.
Don't make any mistakes. Everything's just, you're bouncing off the gutters to kind of like figure out life. You're like, you needed to kind of hit that to kind of realize and learn. Like that kind of needed to happen, so it wasn't a mistake, because it ultimately, like you said, ended up taking you through the journey that ends up in the same place as everybody else.
Yeah, like in a nutshell, it's like, this is just part of it, right? Like the word that I have rather than mistake is experience. Like I just experienced something different than you did, right? Like I lost a bunch of money, or like I got divorced, or I went through this, you know what I mean? It's like,
and it could be an unpleasant experience that you don't want to redo.
But why? But that's the thing, is that like viewing something as unpleasant is also judging it. You know what I mean?
But you can objectively look and say, okay, I don't want to go like cheat on my wife and run away from my family. That's not good. That's not correct. Like,
did it make you feel better?
I mean, fuck, dude. That's crazy to think about,
because we come back to the very basis of what we're talking, like started to talk about, is that like everybody is an individual, right? So if I'm married with 4 kids, right? I choose to be married with 4 kids. But if tomorrow I wake up and I don't want to be married with 4 kids and it's going to make me feel better to not be married with 4 kids,
Then you just do that.
it's not wrong. That's just what I did, right? But my wife
I could
and my
see
kids
that.
might view that as wrong. But if I feel better as a human being, that's what I believe God is viewing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But only guys are allowed to change their minds, right? Girls can't do that.
Change their minds.
Like girls can't get married, have kids, and then be like, nah.
They can do that any day they want.
I don't know, I was just kidding.
But you see like the trap that people get in, dude. Like this is like, sorry, I love talking about this shit, dude. Like we get in this trap to say like it has to be a certain way. It doesn't.
I don't know that it has to be a certain way. I think there's a certain way of things that will create the most joy, you know? And I think that's what Christ's teachings are, is he's teaching us how to live with the most joy.
I like that you brought Christ in. That's cool. Christ was like the perfect example of this, dude. Christ was the ultimate conscious being, right? Every part of the earth has one. There's a Gandhi, there's a Buddha, there's a Christ, there's a Dallas, there's a Matt, right? Mm-hmm. Christ is like, I believe that Christ is meant to teach us how to live rather than to just follow him. Yeah. And I think that his teachings were like the epitome of consciousness, right? But this is a whole nother thing for another day. But like, Christ never judged anybody. He just warned them. He's like, hey, idiot, if you do this, this will be the outcome.
Right.
I'm trying to save you from the emotional state that you have to go through, because Christ suffered in the Garden of Gethsemane for everybody, right?
So he felt all the pain.
Felt all the pain, but did that take pain away from you personally?
Take pain away?
Yeah, you still hurt.
Eternally.
Sure,
because then you don't have but no.
Well,
I still hurt.
Right. Like we still have to go through our own shit.
Yeah.
Right? So I believe that, yes, he's our savior, but in a sense, he just taught us how to save. Like he said, hey, you can also go through this and come out the other side better. I believe that the resurrection is like kind of like a metaphor for an emotional state that we can go through as well. Because I love Christ's story and I base everything that I believe off of essentially what he did for us and what he taught us. Can't remember where I was going with that, but his teachings are oh yeah. So if every single part of the earth has a conscious being, then that, in my opinion, is the way to live, right? And that is like non-judgmental, all accepting, all loving, all forgiving, right? And then for some fucking reason, and this is my opinion, it does not have to be anybody else's, we brought in this thing that's called judgment, right? And that came with fire and brimstone and God-fearing Christians and all of those things. But in my belief, like I believe that we are meant to just exemplify what he did for us and what he taught everybody. And so if I go and I judge and I look at a situation, I say, hey, that was bad, right? In my opinion, Christ didn't do that, right? Because he was the one that hung out with the people that didn't want to be in the temples and the churches and all the places. Like he was actually the one that pulling people out of their misery and healing them from all of the things. I don't like to get on a soapbox about religion, but it's like he is the way of life, right? And so from that standpoint, I can't judge another person's experience that's different than mine because it's perfect for them. And if Christ was sitting in the room, then he would accept them just as he would accept us. Because if we're being 100% transparent, he would pull people out of jails that just raped somebody because he's still a child of God and would love him still, right? And he understood that the consequence that he had to go through was the emotional state in this world. And then through the judicial system that man created, he goes and sits in a jail, and that was his trajectory of life, right? But I can't tell you this, but I would be willing to bet that there are people in jail that find a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
Right? But it's only because they try and self-reflect. And that's through Christ's mirror to them. Anyway, that was a whole rabbit hole, dude. But yeah, and I think that it's just experience is the word that I would put on it. And that's what we're meant to go through. Like for me, joining Happi and like selling with you, bro, like I didn't understand that I actually wanted or needed it. There was a lot of resistance for me, right? There was a lot of judgment for me, being like, oh, I got to go back to sales. I'm going to go knock doors, all that stuff. Until I realized that it was just part of my experience of life. And I'm like, this is actually like the container that I need for myself to be able to progress. Right. So
Yeah, I'm glad we could be that for you. I definitely feel like that's the case. Like it just feels like a really good fit, man.
hell yeah.
Gosh, I'm so excited, bro. The other day, just to kind of shift really quick, and then we'll probably come back to it because I got to chew on everything you just said for a second. But, bro, the gratitude roundtable that you did, it was me, you, and Ethan on a little strategy call. And you were like, it was yesterday. Yeah. First of the year. You were like, let's go around and let's just say what we're grateful for. And Ethan said he gets, like, he's so grateful that he gets to wake up every day and that like every day he's like living the dream. You know what I mean? And I was like, it was crazy to hear that from Ethan because it's just like, holy cow. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. He's my brother and like we work together and we've like accomplished this, you know, and it's been like 2.5 years that Ethan and I have worked together, you know?
Yeah.
And we've both just like grown so much. And now it's just like, he's kind of the first initial wave of like real, him and Maddie, like people that I've really like, we've spent enough time, but yeah, it's been like, you know, there's actually been enough time and like I've developed enough, we've developed the business enough where it's like, we're really seeing like, it's not just me. It's like really there's other people that are really living a really, really good life. And it's like happened quick. And like, you know, Randy's going to buy his first house this year.
Hell yeah.
And it's just like, it's crazy, you know, being able to just feel like, you know, Caleb and like all these people that are kind of like coming in, we're really figuring out how to nurture them well and like how to balance the friendship with the business stuff. That's been a hard thing to navigate. You know what I mean?
I have a question for you.
Always worked with people. What's up?
Can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
All right, cool. How do you get people, and this you might not even like consciously understand this, but how do you get people to follow you?
Wow. That's a good question. I would say,
because they do. I hope you know that.
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you noticing that. And thank you. But yeah, as far as how I do it, that's what you said. How do I get people?
Sure. Have you thought about it before?
Yeah, I would say, well, the obvious thing is you got to have like a value proposition where like an actual opportunity, you know? I think the biggest thing that I probably provide is just like optimism and drive and like the spirit behind what happens.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what, like I can pour into people and like give them fuel. Yeah. I can fuel people up. So I think when people get a taste of that, then they're like, oh, cool. Like, not only do I have somewhere where like, if you're willing to put in effort, you'll get results, but I'm also like willing to put effort into you to help create effort. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like down to pour energy in.
Bro.
So you have more energy. Yeah. And then also we have a place where you can put that energy. And so,
yeah, you've done that to me before. And now that you say that, I'm like, oh gosh, that's what he was doing to me. Okay, but then how did you get there? Like how, like you're giving somebody else fuel. Who fueled you?
Bro, it's crazy. Like as far as, well, not so much maybe on the fuel side, but also on the fuel side. It's just what I didn't have. I never had a good place to go do sales. I loved sales. I loved the freedom of sales, but getting screwed over, like, holy cow, it's just like a gnarly world out there.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to the sales world. And so, yeah, it ended up being, you know, I ended up realizing, okay, luckily I have some really good entrepreneurs in, you know, who are close to me, good mentors and stuff. So I was able to put some of the pieces together and realize like, okay, I want to probably end up starting my own company at some point, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, whenever I got to the point where I was, just continuously could not find a very good opportunity that felt like, okay, I want to post up here and just go. And then when I found roofs, even though I was working for another company, I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
It was like the first time and I had been doing sales for 5.5 years when I found roofs. And I was like, okay, I want to go. And I went so hard and for so long. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I've told this story on the pod a couple times now, but the guy ended up going out of business. And yeah, I just didn't really have another anything else to do besides start a company. It was just the next logical step. But I remember like in the infancy of everything, bringing everything together. And when it was in the ideas phase, it was like, all right, I'm going to build something that is that good, dope spot to be, where it's like, Vivint is a great model to look at. I think is incredible. We're incorporating a lot of things that Vivint has done. Stuff that we have in the works that I haven't even talked to you about, like long-term incentive stuff with being able to get equity percentage based off your production in the company. Like as far as long-term retention, that was like very innovative for them to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I want to do as well. That's something that I'm getting like direct mentorship to set up for everybody.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that's part of what this guy's coaching me on, this new program that I'm in.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it was just all about like trying to create that really cool spot. Mm-hmm. I also feel like I lacked community growing up big time. Okay. And so now I'm kind of like, almost in a way, I feel like I'm like going to the other side of it, where it's like, now I'm like, because I didn't have it, I'm creating community. Like I'm trying to create community, have more like events. And I'm not the best at it, to be honest with you, like when it comes to getting people together, but we've definitely progressed a lot.
Yeah.
And that's more where Ethan comes in to play. Like he's really good with the community.
Yeah.
So that's why that's been an incredible partnership. And I've also learned so much from him when it comes to developing community. You know what I mean? Because Ethan can definitely get people together. And like when I get stuff together, I'm usually trying to organize something extravagant, like, some buddies on like, let's get a helicopter and like go do this, Yeah. And then Ethan's just like, let's play chess and swing dance, and then everybody has like a blast and is talking about that. And then like the helicopter was like a letdown, it's like, that's how it feels sometimes. Ethan funny. Just effortlessly creates these incredible scenarios. But, yeah, so I feel like lack of community, lack of opportunity, has kind of led me down like wanting to create that. Mm-hmm. And then just like success in general. Like I've been very, very thirsty for success, and it came from a place of insecurity because I didn't graduate high school.
Yeah.
I didn't graduate high school, went to 5 high schools by the end of my sophomore year, and then was pretty much just not in a position to keep going to high school at that point. Just life was too chaotic. And so I ended up getting like kind of like a GED, but Utah doesn't have GEDs. It's different diploma, high school equivalency diploma.
Yeah.
That I ended up getting when I was like 17. And for those couple years of like, my friends are in their junior years, my friends are in their senior years.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them are going off to college, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know what to do. I remember being like 18 and just going deep on like Dave Ramsey videos of like literally researching, like Googling, like how to become a millionaire.
Bro.
Like how do people do it, you know? And just like, okay, business, okay, team building, okay, like doing like all this stuff that I'm doing. Like, I feel like a lot of it was intentionally learned. Like, okay, you got to be disciplined. You got to like wait. You got to learn sales skills. You got to learn recruiting. You got to learn like team building and leadership, and you got to have cool incentives, and you got to have cool culture, and you got to like long-term vision, you know what I mean? Risk assessment, and just like started learning all these pieces. And, I would say in the early days, it was like just sales and investing was like, but then investing was like business as well. And so it was just like being in the trenches, self-educating from a place of insecurity at a young age, going up in sales and taking different opportunities. So then I was developing a network, right? Different people that also ended up going on and starting companies. So then fast forward 5 years of doing that, then we're starting our own company. Now I'm hitting up my peers, like people who I was doing sales with over the last few years. They're also starting companies, or they've had companies for a couple years now. So I'm like, how do I do this? What do I do this? Like I was able to kind of build off the network that I also got from doing sales.
Dang, dude. Yeah, dude, it's interesting that everybody, I mean, it goes back to like your message. It's like the thing that you go through is the thing that you teach, right? And so like if you like fuel somebody else because nobody fueled you, and you had to do that. And so you're like, okay, cool, I know what you need. I can actually pump that into you now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so dude, I love that. It's amazing. There's this thing that's called like the dark night of the soul. You probably heard of that.
No.
You haven't. Everybody has to go through one. You went through yours. I didn't know.
Okay.
But it's like the shittiest thing that you could have gone through. Did it go?
Oh my gosh, what the heck's going on? Pause.
You're good, dog. Is it plugged into the wall?
All right, we got 2 cameras going now, so if one dies, we'll just keep rolling at this point. Technical difficulties on the Happi POD Studios.
You're good, boss.
But you know how it is. Anyways, we were talking about...
No, yeah, I asked you, do you know what the dark night of the soul is?
No.
So it is a psychological and emotional state that everybody gets to in their life where a belief or a thing that they've held on to no longer serves them. And usually, not usually, everybody has to go through it. So whether that's I mean, it's different for everybody, but you have to go through it to understand who you are, because what it does is it breaks you down completely to say that this belief system or this programming no longer works for me. And now I have to figure out what is new and what is for me. Right. And I think that everybody has to go through that to then find out what it is that they can teach the world. Right. And so for yours, it could have been like a myriad of things. It could have been like you not having somebody fuel you, or like, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? For me, mine was totally different. Mine was my emotional states. And so it's just interesting that like, and I'll always come back to this. And this is why I believe like connections, in business and in sales will inevitably become more energetic and more emotional going forward, because this notion to say that everybody is different and everybody has to go through something and everybody has a message is going to help business leaders and salespeople and myself and you to understand the individuals, to then build them up more, right? I know that I can relate and connect with somebody if they have a story. If they don't have a story, then I'll look at them and be like, okay, cool, you got to go through some shit first. You know what I mean? Because then we can pull something out and then we can actually learn from each other, right? And sometimes, honestly, the things that people, and this isn't to like bring negativity to society at all. It's more just for an awareness of self, to say that like the reason that you built up Happi Roofing is because you didn't have anything, right? And like the reason that I connect with people is because like there was no connection for me, right? And so like the simplest of person that doesn't think that they have any worth or doesn't know what their purpose is or why they're here or what they can connect with people on, it's what have you gone through, and just start talking about it, right? Because that helped you build a business, right? That helped me build like my own perception of self that I can then project on and help other people with, right? And so, yeah, I think that everybody has to go through what they're going to go through, and we can't really excuse them from it, right? They have to do it. They have to go through it. Somebody's got to be broke. Somebody's got to be suicidal. Somebody's got to be upset. Somebody's got to be emotional, right? Because if they are, and they'll make it through it, because they will make it through it, then we can learn from them. And the making it through it part of it is actually really cool, because this is where I believe that, like, dude, again, tangents, but it's okay. But I believe that there's who you are is not proportionally dictated to what you do, right? Like Dallas is not Happi Roofing. Matt is not a salesperson, right? And so I want to learn who somebody is, and I want to learn why they do the things that they do. And that's going to teach me more about myself through their reflection. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Yeah, bro. So, but yeah, on a business standpoint, like I love that taking this side of it and then taking like somebody that at 18 years old just logically decided that the next move was to build a business, or however old you were, right?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you?
When I started Happi Roofing, I was 23.
23?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro. It was your kid. I had a kid when I was 23. This was your first kid.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's the same thing. It's like you hit this point in your life where you're just like, okay, cool. Oh, and then the other thing that I was going to round out about the dark night of the soul is that like there's a version of you that no longer wants to serve and no longer wants to be around. Some people, it like manifests as like suicide, right? And they actually end up taking their lives. When in all reality, that version of themselves just needed to be shedded, right? Like, hey, this part of me doesn't want to live anymore. This part of me doesn't want to do this anymore. What do I need to change about myself, about my emotional state, about the way that I view the world, so this part of me doesn't keep controlling my thoughts and my actions, right?
So if you're suicidal, you just need to completely change your life. Do something.
No, if you're suicidal,
different.
you need to understand that state that you're in is not eternal. Mm-hmm. It's not everything, right?
Yeah.
But it's the same with a business person. It's like, okay, cool. If I am not progressing in my business, what part of my business needs to stop? It's like when you like, I don't know, obvious reasons, it's like you fire somebody that's not helping you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so there's this version of you, of whatever you're doing that either wants to progress, and that one that wants to progress says that, hey, this can't happen anymore. So yeah, it's a cool concept. I think that everybody has to go through it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's beautiful, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You're such a wise man, bro. Any other tidbits or nuggets you want to drop on us before we close this out?
Sure. I think the biggest gift that we're given is the ability to be in the present moment. And I think that we run away from it too much. I think that if you can understand yourself in the present moment and not run away from the big emotions that come up or the big conversations that you need to have, or the things that you may be avoiding, and you can just stay present and grateful, then you understand that everything is an experience that needs to be had, right? And I think that we run away from it. We live in the future and we live in the past. And I think that if we can just understand that we're enough as we are right now, and that we're perfect beings just going through life, needing to understand that we need to experience the things, then presence will become really easy. And that way things won't be hard, and things won't have a negative connotation to it, and they won't be judged, and they won't be seen as good or bad. They'll just be seen as something that needs to happen. My biggest thing is if your mind runs, if you don't know where you're going to go, if you don't know where the next check is coming from, right? If you don't know what to do in your relationship, it's like, stop worrying about it. Stop thinking in the future and start thinking about what's going to happen now. What you can do right now.
Staying in the moment.
Yeah, dude.
It's the key, bro. It's the key.
It really is.
Well, thank you so much, bro. It's been incredible to be able to sit down. This is going to be something I really cherish for a long time. It always means a lot to me to have something like this. It's special to have, I don't know how many minutes we got, 30, 40, 50 maybe, of us just sitting down and chatting. You know, it's pretty cool. So I'm grateful that you're down to do it and that we're able to make it work. And I'm sure we'll have you back for many more to come, so we can check in and see how the journey unfolds.
Thanks for having me, dude.
All right. That is it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.